Hey, thanks for dropping by. I am so glad that you could join us for my podcast today here on June 10th, 2024. I have a great guest today. She is a young artist who is just getting out there, Ciara Grace from the Philadelphia area. We have a really great talk. Her dad is an engineer who's been in the business for ages and got her started in the studio at a young age and really developed her amazing talents. If you get a chance, download that great new album she's got out there featuring the single Lost Cause. And we talk a lot about that and how that all came to be. So look for it, Ciara Grace, Ciara Grace. It's called Write It Down is the new album. It's out there right now. She's performing basically in the Philadelphia area and sometimes in New York. But really, honestly, we have a great time talking, and I really do hope you enjoy this episode. This is a special day, June 10th. As we all know, there's always something special on every single day, but June 10th is the date that the first Apple computer was shipped, and the Apple II computer. So look how far that's come over all these years, many, many moons ago, decades ago. And look how far we have come with this beautiful technology. I record this on an Apple MacBook Air. So it's just this thing is like wafer thin. And I've had this for a while, so I'm sure there's probably way newer, better stuff out there that I might need to get my hands on one day. But wow, how far we've come with this technology. It's just spinning out of control. And NASA on this date did the Spirit rover. It was launched, beginning NASA's Mars exploration rover mission. You remember that rover that popped up out there? Yeah. Anyway, June 10th. Great day. And a great day for music with a very gifted young artist. She's just really amazing and is out there really just getting this music out. So hope you enjoy this.
I'm so sorry. I just got a new computer, so everything was kind of being set up.
I know, that's the whole thing. You get all excited about like getting something new, but then you gotta learn how to use that. It's
I
like
know. I
all
was
these
I was
features.
right before this Zoom, I was trying to go through all my settings. I'm like, okay, do I have everything turned on?
This is so funny because this whole podcast was born during the pandemic. So
Hmm.
I was like, we were all just figuring out
Oh,
how to
you were
use
really in the
Zoom.
trenches trying to sort through it. Yeah.
Everybody's
Yeah.
like sitting there trying to figure out, can you see me? Can you see me? It's like, the worst thing about Zoom is, and that when I have a day job and we use Zoom quite a bit, and it doesn't mute when you open it up. So when there's a big meeting, it's like, I can hear you, mute. That happens
Uh,
every time. It's like, stop.
it's rough because I remember during COVID, I was in high school, I was in my senior year, so that was like all we were doing as well, and it was
Gosh.
like none of the teachers could figure out how to use it, which I didn't mind. I mean, we got less work done, but
So how was that? What was that like? I mean, just going to
oh God.
school.
I mean, well, because it was junior year, that March of junior year where it all kind of hit, and no one even knew. I remember being in like eighth period, like my last period of class, and having a thing come over the speakers being like, hey guys, like grab your things if you have anything stored in a locker. Like we might not be back for a minute. And we were all like on Twitter trying to look at the governor's like announcement about it. No one knew what was going on.
I know it's so bizarre because I was at work and I was like, we can't work from home. We don't know how to do that. This is insane. They
I
gave us
know.
laptops, like these older laptops.
Yeah.
And we were like figuring this thing out. And I was like, this isn't going to last very long. Oh my God, it changed everything.
I know. I can't even imagine. I
Wow.
uh,
Did you get into music during all that, or did this start when you were like way
Oh, I mean,
younger?
it started a little bit before, but that definitely because my dad wasn't really, no one could come into the studio, so he was doing a lot of remote work, but he had a lot of time for me to come in and like fool around with some stuff. So I am grateful for it in that sense. Yeah,
Yeah, isn't that
absolutely.
funny how that happens like
Yeah.
organically from something so terrible? There is something good that can come out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So, what does your dad do? And
He's
and
a music engineer.
Great. And any huge projects that he's worked on that
Um,
we
he's
should all
worked
know
on
about?
I'm trying to think. He's got the Grammy things hanging up. He worked on an
Yeah.
Elton John record. He's done a lot of gospel stuff.
Ah.
He did a Christmas album for Shirley Caesar.
Yeah, yeah.
He's been
I know
around.
Shirley Caesar. Well, I'm
Yeah,
not that old, but
he's
that
been
goes.
around.
Yeah. Oh, that's really awesome. Yeah. So
Right.
yeah, just get into the business that way for sure.
Oh yeah.
That's
Oh yeah.
nice. Yeah. Elton John, there's always like a connection because I'm here in Atlanta and he lived here for a while
Yeah.
and recorded right around the corner from me. There's a studio not too far from me that's very environmentally friendly.
Mm.
And he recorded the Peachtree Road album there back probably 20 some years ago now. But yeah, what a great thing to work with such a
Yeah.
huge artist like that, I'm
Oh,
sure.
I'm sure. I think that was a bit when he's a bit of an old man now, but not Elton John, my father.
Yeah. They're all
Um,
up there, yeah. But they're young in spirit, I'm
oh
sure.
he's young in spirit, all right. Um, yeah, but yeah, I'm very um blessed to have the opportunity to get to work with, someone like my dad. And then it's free because it's also my father.
I
That's also
know. What a great gift. So growing up, obviously he exposed you probably to a variety of stuff if you work with such a variety of people.
Oh, him and my mom too. My mom's a singer-songwriter, just in the general like Pennsylvania, New York area. And she was constantly dragging me and my older sisters to shows. My favorite story to tell actually is I was such a sucker for attention. I used to walk up on stage. I knew how to lower boom mics because I'd seen my dad do it, like
Yeah.
in the studio. So I would lower it and I would just start singing instead of her.
That's how you do it by ear. So you're basically self-taught in a way.
Oh yeah, in that sense.
Yeah. Oh gosh. So you have some very serious. So your mom is Lizanne? Do they is she
Lizanne. Yeah. I
Lizanne's
don't think it's a real name.
not.
It's okay. You can mispronounce it.
Funny how you see that. Yeah. And you pronounce it Sierra or Ciara?
Sierra.
Sierra.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent. So yeah, it's great to see that you're out there doing this and you're inspired by some very interesting people. I saw Lord once and she's just so amazing. I mean, I could see that there's a real inspiration there as well. What a great
She
show.
she just emulates everything. I think like her writing, the way she
Yeah.
produces things, like the way she builds a track around like a singular feeling that she like latches her teeth into. I don't know. I She's phenomenal.
Yeah, she put on such a great show. Run the Jewels opened up for Lord
Oh wow.
at the same arena my daughter ended up graduating from here in Gwinnett
Oh, that's
County.
fun.
Yeah, yeah. She was just so fun and she did this on green light and she and she threw confetti all over us. I got on the floor. It was
Yeah.
just a great time. Well, what a great performer.
I'm sure she's like one of the only artists that I like really like that I haven't seen live. One day. One day.
Yeah. Yeah, she needs to record something very substantial again. I know she's got it in her. It's been a minute since she's really had something really
Yeah.
substantial out, but
Yeah,
yeah.
gripping like that.
Yeah, as you know, it's not easy as you
Oh,
being
no.
a singer-songwriter and getting into that.
Yeah.
So your latest release is out there. Talk about that. And obviously you're grateful to your dad for making this happen.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this album has been such a whirlwind. I mean, when we started working on it, I didn't think anything was really gonna come of it. You know what I mean? I was kind of just having fun and like I really do enjoy music. I enjoy writing. I enjoy kind of like building production around what I've written. But to have it like out, to have like the full-fledged like 11, 12 song album, it's really it's crazy. And then getting to perform it live is even more insane. And it's just more than I could have hoped for.
How much are you doing live performing now? Are you basically in the Philadelphia area?
Oh, I'm in the Philadelphia area. I do have some gigs in New York this fall though, which
Oh,
I'm very
yeah.
excited about. Um, but yeah, I'm really working. I feel like I went about it in a bit of a funky way, which because I didn't know this album was gonna become anything, I'm not good at promoting myself or marketing anything. I'm kind of just like, oh, this is like a fun hobby for me to do alone. And now the album's out, and I'm like, okay, now I need to get out there and open for people and do open mics before I really start. I'm just trying to build an audience.
Yeah, you know, you can't do it all. And I tell everybody this too. And it's hard because I even do this and this is a side hustle and you know, put stuff together. I edit. I'm a video editor, producer by trade anyway.
Yeah.
And so I use a little bit of all those skills, but to like create it and then you got to go market it and do videos. And it's just like you can't do it all. It's nice to be able to have people around to help you to accomplish all that.
Oh, absolutely. And it got really hard because I've been in college. I go to Westchester University. I don't know if you know what that is.
My that's so funny because I saw that. So my best friend growing up, I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio,
Yeah.
and my best friend is in Westchester, and he has this character called the Amazing Spaghetti. He goes around Westchester, like that whole county, that whole area,
Yeah.
and he performs there, and he's a caricature artist, and I think he has a studio in downtown Westchester
Oh,
as
wow.
well. Yeah.
It's a really nice area. I'll
Yeah,
give
it
you
really is.
that.
So you grew up there?
No, no, no. I grew up in Norristown, which is probably
Yeah.
like 40 minutes away from Westchester. Um,
Okay.
very like suburbs of Philadelphia. But Westchester is a bit more expensive than where I live. Although the school is very cheap, which doesn't
Good.
make sense to me, but listen, I'll take it.
Nice cheap school in a very posh area. That's
Yeah,
must
I
be
mean,
interesting.
gotta be cheap for as much as they charge rent in the town.
So what are you doing at the school? What are you studying and getting into?
I'm studying psychology.
Okay.
This is always a fun thing to delve into. When I was growing up, because I was so like heavily surrounded by music and my parents in the studio, I thought it was too easy for me. I was like, I enjoy music, but I feel like I'm somehow taking this opportunity away from someone who doesn't have all these things and might even be better than me. And I kind of swore it off, and I was like, I'm gonna be a criminal psychologist. Um, and that's what I wanted to do
Oh.
forever. So even when I got into music and I was kind of playing around with it, I'm still going to college for it. Um, currently taking the next fall off though, because doing like you said, all the marketing and the video and the editing and doing that on top of school was a little much.
Sure,
It
I'm
was
sure.
definitely a little much, but now that I can like dedicate all my time to this, it feels like a job, but it's a lot easier.
Good. No, it's all great experience, and there's no huge rush
Yeah.
to get out of school and do all that. But that's what a great fallback. I'm sure, you know, your parents were like, you need something to fall back on.
My dad was always telling me, he's like, you don't need to go to college. Like, I can teach you because I'm going to inherit the studio anyway. So he's like, just let me teach you everything I do and then just take it over.
Ah. Yeah, a lot of people in the entertainment business, they're like, I tried talking my kid out of it, and especially those in Hollywood and probably now here in Georgia as well. But it's like they're trying to talk their kid out of it, and they're just so headstrong, and they acting just looks so wonderful and glamorous. But gosh, it's just wrought with all kinds of
Oh,
issues.
God. Yeah. I don't know if they would have had the same reaction if I wanted to get into acting or like streamline my way to Hollywood. But
Oh gosh, you imagine that.
oh, God.
So the singing and songwriting, this is just something you work very, very hard on. And the origins of some of these tracks, it's kind of interesting. A little bit edgy lyrics in your single Lost Cause. Where does that it seems to come from this maybe inner angst or
Oh,
just
I was
some
I was
tension?
very angry when I wrote that. I was very angry. It was I've told this story before, but I'll tell it again because I love it. I met this boy in detention and at high school, and he invited me to his house at some point, and I went over there, and he was like, I couldn't tell if they were actually obnoxiously rich or they just like kind of like to be perceived that way. They had this big old house. Him and his brother were in like a bet with their neighbors of who could steal more of like personal belongings that of material gain, and they had stolen a giant lizard from their neighbor, and it was running around their living room. And I mean, on top, it was hysterical, but on top of that, he was also an awful person. So I
Oh, that I could almost kind of picture that, right? How that kind
was like,
of
what am I doing here?
always like yeah, spoiled brat who just like, you know, I think they like the challenge. They probably have everything in the world they want, but they still I don't understand being like a klepto and being incredibly wealthy. It's
I
just
don't I didn't understand the game, and then his dad came in dragging like a trash bag full of wine that the neighbors had given them. I was like, this is we're in a
wow.
different tax bracket.
And of course he's a problem and teachers, administrators probably it's a huge headache to them. It's just
Oh
got,
God.
that's why they get out of that business.
Oh, I'm sure. I remember sitting in the guidance office and talking to my guidance counselor about him. I was like, "Do you know this kid?" She was like, "Oh yeah." She was like, "We've heard of him." I was like, "Cool."
Oh gosh, so he's not in lockup or anything. Is he better now, or if you even
No,
know?
I mean, I don't think he'd ever go that far, but he's yeah, I haven't had any contact with him. Rightfully so. I think I'd get violent, but
Or maybe he'll be so, and I don't think people change that much, but I think the younger you are, you might be able to have more of a chance of changing. So, like, maybe one day he'll come up and just like say, "Oh, forgive me. I was just so awful. I now have perspective. I had this epiphany, and then that could be a great thing for a song."
that could be. I mean, I definitely got a lot of good songs out of that experience. Because I say I wrote this song when I met him and he was awful, and then I continued to hang around with him for the next 2 years. So
Yeah,
says
you
more
kind of,
about me, maybe.
but I think it does. I think you question yourself saying, well, this guy's exciting. I
Yeah,
mean, I have a humdrum life. This brings some excitement. I've been in those situations, and
yeah,
you pay very heavily for it too. Very, very
yeah.
high baggage with people like that.
It was fun while it lasted.
Yeah, yeah. And experience, it gives you material for sure. So it's
Absolutely.
oh gosh, yeah. So yeah, and it's not easy like putting together like a full-length album. A lot of people are just doing singles or EPs now. So it seemed like you had enough material to feel confident that this could be one huge package.
Oh, absolutely. I probably wrote, 50 to 100 songs in that
Oh.
course of my life. And we have a bunch laying around that my dad and I are kind of thinking about doing like either a deluxe or like another EP. Cause I've with the 11 songs, 11, 12, I'm pretty sure it's 11. I need to double check that at some point. But with the songs we did put on the album, I was like really sure. I was like, I definitely want to push these like first as to kind of, make my name. But I wrote so many songs for it that I'd love to have out there. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah. And it's a process to really sit there and whittle it down and
Yeah.
saying this is a cohesive story that you
Yeah.
put together. Yeah, the art of the album I just feel like has just gotten so lost because of the streaming and digital and all of
Oh,
that.
absolutely. I think one of my favorite artists recently that I really liked the way they did their whole rollout thing, is Ethel Kane. I don't know if you've heard of her. She recently did an album called Preacher's Daughter that really kind of read like a movie or like a full story about this girl who's like living in like the Baptist South and runs away, and it's actually kind of dark, but it was just a really full-fledged like story-based album, and I was like, yes, let's get back to this.
Yeah, yeah, there's something about that. So, are you able to get the album in physical form? Do you have this pressed as CDs, maybe even
Oh, my
LPs?
album or her album? I'm so
Your
sorry.
album, if
Oh yes. Yeah. Yeah, we've got CDs. I maybe vinyl in the future if I'm
yeah,
feeling like it.
do a couple of copies there. I'm sure it's not cheap to do that. So, yeah, vinyl's beautiful though. It's just there's something about that.
Oh,
Just
it
getting
it
that.
it's absolutely. I just know for my like particular age group. I mean, some people I'm sure listen to vinyl, but a lot of it we use it for decoration. So much to the extent that I actually saw a video the
Sure.
other day of this little girl with a CD going, "Oh, look, it's a mini vinyl."
Yeah, it really is great for decoration and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I knew not to I didn't have a ton of vinyl growing up, but I knew to hold on to it. I was like, every technology, what happens is people get nostalgic for it
Mhm.
and it makes a comeback in its own form.
Oh, not to mention that it sounds beautiful. Like the sound that like any album played on vinyl is just a
Yeah.
million times better than anything you could hear over headphones.
Yeah, I'm sure your dad probably has a heck of a setup over there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've been like I've been the Kenwood or they're just like really good amplifiers, speakers, things like that. A guy who's very much into sound.
Oh, absolutely. He's ordering new ones, every other month it feels like. We've got a big box on our front porch, and my mom's like, who is this for?
Got a new needle. It's about like $3,000,
Yeah,
something like
right.
that. How
He's
did
a
how did the name Morning Star Studios come about? Did he just how was that inspired? The
I'm
studio that
actually
you're
not fully sure because I think he's been running Morningstar since the 70s.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, for a while. I was born in 2003. Not to get too far into it, but my parents also weren't together. They just worked together. And something happened with that, and we're all one big happy family now. We're all friends.
Oh, that's cute.
But we all chip into the studio now, It's it really is a family business.
Oh
Um,
wow, that's amazing. That
yeah.
is, hey, you got to do what works, and yeah, how you feel about that? Yeah, that's fantastic.
I love it. I really wish he works so much because he's a bit of a workaholic, but I mean I can't blame him for how much effort and time and money he's put into like creating something like this. That whenever he gets some time off, I would love for him to teach me how to run things and like engineering and all that stuff. I really, really am excited for that.
I bet he's got like a lot of connections to like Philly soul because it's got such a rich history over there, going back to all those guys. And this one guy named Tom Bell,
Mhm.
who was big in Philadelphia. He passed away recently. Who had
Yeah.
also worked with Elton John many moons ago,
Yeah.
but I'm sure he's got connections to all of that.
He does.
How?
Sometimes he'll pull out names and I'll just be like, oh,
Yeah,
you've never mentioned this before.
yeah. How did he end up in Philadelphia? Was he from that area?
Yeah, he was from, I think, Springfield area. And the way he always tells it to me is he actually went to Westchester as well with a vocal major or something like that. And he says he dropped out 2 semesters in and started pooling together money with his friends to like try and buy some equipment for a studio, and they were engineering and mixing any and recording anyone who wanted it done for very cheap just to get their name out there. And he said they worked their asses off until they were able to get a building for it and go from there. I'm very, very proud of him whenever he talks about it.
Yeah. You'll get that studio one day for sure.
Yeah.
That's that'll be great. And you could produce other artists too and just expand your
Oh, I
horizons
would
as
love it.
well.
I mean, I love writing and singing and songwriting, but just being in the music industry in general is like really end game for me.
How's the writing experience for you? How do you get ideas for songs? Do you like I always ask everybody this really, you pull to the side of the road, you go old school and start writing things down or put that in your notes on the phone.
Sometimes I definitely when writing this past album, really always just came from a place of I really need to vent about something, but I don't want to talk to anyone about it. So I'm just gonna sit here with my guitar and I'm gonna kind of pen all these feelings down. Um, and then I feel like out of nowhere, I'd just get these melodies. They would come to me, and then I'd flesh them out. I really wrote this whole thing like by myself in my room, but and now from that, I've been kind of trying to take different approaches. I've been writing poetry. Um I've been trying to write about things not in my life, just to try and like I don't know, learn how to craft stories.
Yeah, yeah. What kind of poetry did you get into growing up and
Um,
being there?
Definitely I I took a poetry class actually in school not too long ago where we went over a bunch of different styles like non creative nonfiction is definitely my favorite. I mean, because I still enjoy writing about my own life. I love Sylvia Plath. Um, I'm so sorry, I'm like blanking. I just read
Oh
Bob
no, yeah.
Dylan's poetry book that he put out forever ago. So good, so many run-on sentences, but so good. Um,
The master.
yeah,
I can't believe
he,
he's still with us. It's just he's out there. I think he just wants to really just pass away on stage or
I
something like that.
know.
You know
He's
what yeah, it's crazy. The people can want to do that forever and ever.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he is the right to. He's incredible. And especially after reading all that. Like I loved his music, but that kind of stream of consciousness stuff that he's
Right.
just a fantastic writer. Um, so yeah, I'm really just trying to focus on, what can I make sound better? What can I make this turn of phrase sound, cooler. But yeah.
You have, probably from experience, this track called Stalker on the Internet. Well, is that obviously personal? You have dealt with that in some fashion, or do you know of somebody who has
No,
been
no.
stalked?
I actually kind of wrote that. I mean, I've absolutely stalked people on the internet. I don't know anyone my age who like hasn't. Um, or even like older, like my mom will like pull something up on Facebook and be like, "Oh, come here, look at this, look at this." Um, but that song in particular, I wrote about the same guy I wrote Lost Cause about. He had this ex-girlfriend who we were like kind of similar in type, blonde hair, blue eyes, same general vibe, and he broke up with her shortly after he broke up with me, and started dating this girl who was, looked nothing like us, like brunette, very tan, maybe
Huh.
Italian, very beautiful, very, very beautiful. And I was so upset about it. And I was kind of just thinking, like, oh, me and this, other blonde girl are probably sitting here going, what the hell? Like, she looks nothing like us. Like, and that was where that song was kind of born from, of us just both stalking it on the internet, stalking him on the internet and seeing this new beautiful brunette girl and being upset about it.
Like, why? What got into it? Why is he, what's he going for this now?
Yeah,
This
I don't
isn't
know.
like him.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think
Very,
that's
very
just,
petty,
yeah.
but
It's human nature, I would think. We all get curious, and I think, online has not helped at all. I mean,
oh,
just
we have open
basically,
access. It's awful.
let's check out this Facebook profile.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think, it's human nature. You want to be curious and try to get closure or answers, and you probably never get the closure.
Yeah. We do love to try though.
Yeah, yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, definitely. So, what's your stage presence like? I mean, as far as just going out there, how you look, how you feel, what's that experience like doing all this live?
I love being on stage. That's probably one of the I've known that about myself for very long, because my mom was always, dragging me up on stage. I had no chance to be afraid of it because I was, 3 and then 5 and then 10, and she was like, "Here, like listen to my daughter play something, play 3 chords she just learned on guitar." Um, so I love it, and it's really my favorite part of like the whole thing, which is probably why I lack a little bit in, marketing myself online, because I really just like getting out there and talking to people. I like telling people what I wrote songs about and hearing people tell me what they related it to, and just really engaging with a crowd. It's my favorite thing.
Yeah, I'm sure. So you were probably just, a total natural. You never had to go through the jitters. Was it like that in school where you were like, "Oh, I've got confidence. I could stand in front of the class and talk."
Not, I mean, public speaking, yes. Whenever we had like, cause I was in choir and like stuff like that. Or whenever we had talent shows, it always felt a bit more daunting because, my mom shows or like any gig, like, um, it's not like these people really know me personally. They're not thinking about. I feel like in school, everyone's has preconceived notions of me or something, and it just makes it a little bit more daunting. Like, oh my god, I have to see you every day after I do this. What if I'm awful? So that did catch me for a bit. Um, but playing live outside of that, I've usually been very good, not getting nervous.
Yeah, I think because maybe you could hide behind, your singing voice. It's not your speaking voice. That is
Yeah.
radically different styles.
Yeah.
And I can understand why a lot of performers don't really banter very much between songs. And those who do, it's like, the audience sometimes can get bored and say, "Hey, shut up and go to the next song now, please."
Yeah, although that banter has sometimes been my favorite. My mom, when she used to perform, my big role for a minute was her heckler. I was so
Ah.
mean. But like her entire band would kind of riff off each other and I'd feel left out. So I'd be in like the front row screaming at the stage like and then the crowd would laugh and I'd be like, "Oh, I'm entertaining. I'm entertaining the masses."
Does your mom do a lot of covers? Does she do original stuff as
No,
well?
she does original stuff. She's very much lives in kind of like the folky Americana world.
Oh.
Yeah.
Kind of like
Yeah.
having a Joan Baez kind of for a mom. That I'm sure very
Oh,
cool, I'm sure.
absolutely. If you've listened to the album the whole way through, there's a song at the end called Jesus or Elvis, which
Yes.
she wrote
Yes.
actually. It was
Oh, good.
There's the original version of the one she sang somewhere out there on streaming services, but I
Oh.
loved that song and I knew I definitely wanted to cover it for this album.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great track. Yeah, at the end of it, and then you have an instrumental version of your single "Lost Cause" as well. What was the decision to do that? Would somebody just say, "Hey, that's filler," or just like you wanted to share that version?
I don't know actually. I think my dad might have just popped that on at the end and it's just how it is now. I'm like I'm fine
Yeah,
with it.
Dad, you're the
Like might as
co-producer
well.
here. Great tracks on there. The song "Choices." How did that come about?
Oh man. Choices I think I wrote probably in a very, I was very sad and angry for all of these songs, I feel like I'll say. But it was right after I got to college. It was probably like the first week or two and Mr. Lost Cause again, making a reappearance. I had hung out with him basically the past 2 weeks before I had gone to college. And then, I got there and I see him posted up on one of his social media stories with another girl that
Oh
he's
gosh.
dating. I'm like, you silly little boy, that you did that to me. So I wrote choices kind of just like I did all this shit for you and you still could not choose me.
So I guess the big question is the name Taylor Swift comes up a lot in your life. People probably try to compare you. Hey, writing about the boyfriends and all the relationships. That's their generation.
It's whatever. I mean, choices was, I mean, even as I was writing it, we were trying to think of production for it. We knew it was a very like Taylor Swifty song, but like I was raised on her. And
I'm sure.
I think her coping mechanisms are incredible and make her lots of money. So I didn't mind copying that a little bit.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I mean, everybody derives off of everybody in some form. It's
Yeah.
happened ever since music started, so
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I get a real kick out of her because yeah, nobody. I mean, God, the amount of material. It's like, I mean, she's like what a third of my age. I feel like she's lived much more than I ever could have.
See,
All
my
this,
mom and I talk about this all the time because Taylor Swift was the only thing we could all agree to listen to when I was little. Like we had the few CDs and we'd pop in Fearless, and it was the only thing we could all agree on. She just keeps going. However big she just gets bigger in the next 3 years. It's incredible.
yeah, yeah, and it's a hard business. It's really hard to be inspired and to have that kind of production output. But like,
You know?
wow, this last album, I, it's just so long, and there's like, how do you even do this? This is just incredible. I mean, I'm really impressed.
I know. I remember when it came out, staying up till like I think I was up till like 3 a.m. trying to listen to all of it. It was like 34 tracks. I was like, Jesus.
Exactly. I have to do this piecemeal I do on my runs or whatever. It's like I don't know one song's name after the other because I'm on my runs. I can't see the track list.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, this little girl. I mean, I remember when she started.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just, a great amount of talent out there, and it's a tough space to compete in.
Oh,
So
absolutely. I try not to think of it like that though, because I think everyone's worthy of having something to say. You know what I
yeah,
mean? I feel like music, especially the kind of music I want to do, is really like I feel like maybe dichotomy isn't the right word, but it's kind of grasping at the essence of the human experience. You know what I mean? I feel like everyone's got their own perspective on that. And so what anyone makes is going to be somewhat different from someone else. And they all have equal contribution to
yeah.
the music scene.
Everybody is unique, and yeah, as long as you're getting your art out there the way that you need to get it out there,
Yeah.
and that's a really great thing. So, do you have any siblings
I have
beyond?
3 older sisters. I do.
Wow, God, are they like way older than you?
Yeah, so the closest one I think is 10 years older than me. And then my eldest sister is 21 years older than me.
My
Yeah.
gosh,
So it was always kind of like having a second mom.
I bet. Yeah, yeah, that's got to feel really incredible. Just to, and probably like lots of sage advice, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, they were always warning me about any experience I could deal with before it even happened. Like I was more than prepared.
That's so cool. So, yeah, so heading off to New York, you're playing, is it the bitter end? Is
I
that
am playing the bitter end, yeah, in
good?
October. Very, very excited about that. I've played it a few times, probably within the past like 3 or 4 years, before I had like the full album out when I just had like kind of pieces of songs. And yeah, I mean I love the venue. I love the people who run it. My mom used to play there all the time as well, so it's like super familiar and nostalgic to me.
Yeah, legendary space up there for those who
Yeah.
don't know the New York area. Just I know a lot of people who've gone up there and played. It's just really great. And the vibe of the city, I'm sure that's got to be
Oh,
inspirational too.
absolutely. There was also another, the Tin Angel. Are you familiar?
I've heard
Was
of that,
that New
yeah.
York or Philly? I can't
I
remember, but
I think that's New York, not sure though.
I think it might be that actually recently closed down, but that was another venue that I really, really liked playing at before it because I think it
Huh.
closed down over COVID.
Oh gosh. So any place you play in Westchester, are there any clubs there that in that downtown area?
Not as much. I was definitely looking at them, but I always felt a little bit too like swamped with school to like,
Yeah.
it was always like while I was in the area, I was focusing on that and then I'd go home and I would concentrate on music. But I have been playing this really cool place recently in Conshohocken called the Falzer Club. And I think it actually used to be like a silent movie set.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and they've got a bubble machine. They've got like a side room where you can take like a um what are the pictures with the 3 rows? It's like a vending. I don't know. Very cool space though. I've been really
Yeah.
enjoying playing there.
Nice.
And then
Nice.
World Cafe Live, obviously, in August. Very excited about that.
Excellent. And you open up for any bigger names that we know about?
Um, I'm trying to think. The Falzer Club, I opened up for a God, what was his first name? Something Hunker. He was like more of a kind of Midwestern based artist. He was super fun. Koofy and Christine Knotts. I don't know if you've heard of them, but they are so cool. They do real like new age soul stuff. I opened up for them at the living room. Um, and actually the living room just closed down too. Wow. I feel like we're
Yeah,
losing
a bummer.
venues.
Yeah, awful,
It's a
awful. And
shame.
yeah, it's really just crazy. And you've done festivals too. The
Yeah, I've done
Philadelphia's got one. Yeah.
Yeah, I've done the Philadelphia Folk Festival once or twice, which is I it's always so much fun. I mean, again, my mom used to do that one, so it's so nostalgic to me being back there.
Yeah, yeah. It's just great to get out there and to really, see how this goes live, especially with your originals. Now, do you do a lot of covers as well?
I'll probably do 1 or 2 covers like in a set, unless it's like a singer-songwriter circle specifically. But I do enjoy recently I've been really enjoying covering Boy Genius. Because their
Yeah.
past
Yeah.
album just completely blew me away.
Where did I
Um,
see them? Yeah. I think were they on SNL, Saturday Night
I
Live?
I believe so,
I
yeah.
think that's maybe where I saw them. Yeah.
So
Cool.
good. If you haven't given that album a listen, I think it's called The
Yeah.
Record. So good.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah. And you get a little buoyant on your album with this song called Summer Interlude.
Yes.
Yeah. And what is that inspiration?
That was kind of just about right before, the summer right before I went to college. It's kind of like having that last summer fling. Um, and just kind of living in the moment and being like, yeah, like we'll probably go back to hating each other after this, but isn't it fun while it's happening? But aside from the inspiration, I knew I kind of really wanted to turn that song into like a little poppy moment because I love pop music, even if I've kind of made the bulk of the album kind of like indie and edgy. I really do love pop music. And I was really glad that turned out to be kind of the more fun ones.
Yeah. Yeah, pop music. Yeah. I always go back to that. It's just it works. It's got melody. It's
Oh yeah.
very, very nice. Another inspiration, Fiona Apple. I remember when she first came out too as well.
I love her. I don't listen to her as much as I just read her lyrics because I think she's just a phenomenal writer. Um, yeah, I also have never seen her live, which I don't know if that'll,
Might
but
happen one day. Yeah. She just
maybe.
goes away for a while.
I know,
So
girl, come back. We miss you.
yeah, yeah. Just, it's funny when you think about it and you haven't thought about them for a long time and then it's all of a sudden they'll be back, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. I'll be out
Yeah.
there with my 2 cents to the wind.
So the next project, if you have one on the drawing board, do you even have anything, any ideas for another album?
I mean, I'm writing so much that I don't like stop thinking about that. I always try to multitask, like doing this now and always like looking towards the future because I get a little ahead of myself sometimes. But I'm definitely playing with things. I go back and forth between wanting to kind of remain in the mainstream vein and, release singles and not do as much of an art project as I really want to.
Yeah. Yeah, and do you like look at your stuff on like Spotify, look at the numbers? Some artists just get so obsessed with that. I think it's just like that's a fool's errand to sit there
Yeah,
and
I try not to. I mean, I get excited. I recently had someone like random that had like add two of my songs to a playlist that had like 30,000 followers, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. But if I get too sucked into it, yeah, I'll depress myself. Um, so I definitely try to stay with the experiences of playing live, of like actually being able to see people enjoy my music or interpret it for themselves. Like that's really what keeps me going.
yeah, there's nothing like it. And that's really I think that's the ultimate in the promotion and in the success is as tough as this business has gotten.
Yeah.
Recording's fun, it's great to do that, but to play live, that's what ultimately really promotes you and gets your name out there. And that's really where the money's made if you're
Yeah,
doing that.
that is absolutely true.
No, no, do your parents go to your shows very much, or is it
Oh, absolutely. Whenever they can get out, like to come with me, they always do. They are so completely supportive of me. I'm very thankful.
nice, nice?
Yeah.
Westchester, Pennsylvania. Wow, it's just I gotta visit sometime. It's just
It's
different.
beautiful. It's expensive, but it's all like rolling farms, like very nice architecture.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to go there. I'm into running and I know Philadelphia has this race down. I think it's called Broad Street.
Mhm.
They do a 10 miler down there. I have to get
Yeah.
there one day. Yeah, it sounds like fun. Definitely.
I would know
Well,
less about that. You can't pay me to run, but
sounds like my daughter. She's like, why do you do this for fun? It's like, come
yeah.
on.
No, it's I mean
My
if you enjoy it,
therapy.
hey.
Therapy. You have to understand it's therapy. I know that I'm gonna see the Rolling Stones tomorrow. And
Oh,
yeah.
so fun. Are you excited?
Yeah, I put this off since at an age younger than what you're at now, like which is now like 40 years. Put them off all these years. I've seen a lot of live acts, but
Yeah.
yeah, this one I put off for a very, very long time. I'm finally gonna do it. So, and speaking of a runner, I love watching Mick Jagger run. So
Oh yeah.
it's big inspiration.
Oh, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm very excited for you. I hope you enjoy yourself.
Yes, yes. I really look forward to that. And yeah, and best wishes to you as you go forward in your career and definitely at the college.
Mhm.
And hopefully we'll see you out there.
Oh, I'm sure. I'll be around.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for stopping by. It's been great
Absolutely.
speaking with
Thank you so
you.
much for having me. Thank you so much for having me.
Take care. Have a good
You
one.
too. Have a great day.
And I hope you enjoyed our chat. It was a lot of fun. Always talking with new talent that is really trying to make a mark on the world. And I just had a blast. So until next time, take it easy.